Hello everyone, welcome to Kerala PSC HSA English classes. This is class 54. As per the syllabus, we are moving on to the next topic in the module Literary Criticism, that is Ferdinand de Saussure's Nature of the Linguistic Sign. Roots of structuralism lie in the theories of the early 20th century Swiss linguist Saussure. He moved away from historical study of language to structure and functions of language. And all his theories is compiled in Course in General Linguistics, which was published in 1915. So, our essay, The Nature of the Linguistic Sign, deals with the Saussurean principles, sign, signifier and signified, the arbitrariness of the sign, and the linear nature of the signifier. Some people regard that language is based on a naming process by which things get associated with a word or name. The linguistic sign, a keyword, is made of the union of a concept and a sound image. A more common way to define a linguistic sign is that a sign is a combination of a signifier and a signified. Saussure says the sound image is the signifier and the concept is the signified. Let me give you an example. The letters MAN is the sound image, that is, it is a signifier. And the category man, it is a concept, and that is signified. And when we write MAN, the written word man is the sign. I think now you got that relationship between this sign, signified and signifier. Saussure stressed that the relationship between the signifier and the signified was entirely conventional, completely arbitrary. Both terms are psychological in nature, the concept and sound image. Both are united in the brain by an associative bond. So the sound image is not the material sound, a purely physical thing, but the psychological imprint of the sound, the impression that it makes on our senses. The sound image is sensory, and the concept is generally more abstract. So the linguistic sign is a two-sided psychological entity. So it is our language that creates our reality. We have given some names and words to the concept or image conventionally. So it is arbitrary, it can change. So here Saussure gives an example of the arbor tree. One tends to forget that arbor is called a sign only because it carries a concept tree, with the result that the idea of the sensory part implies the idea of the whole. Then coming to the principle 1, that is the arbitrary nature of the sign. The linguistic sign is an arbitrary linkage between a signifier and a signified. The signifier is the sound image, while the signified is the concept. So Saussure believed that there is no natural or intrinsic or iconic connection between sound images and concepts. It is purely arbitrary or conventional, and there is no reason why we should call the four-legged barking animal dog in English, kutta in Hindi, and so on. You can also check out for the example of sister, the idea of sister given by Saussure. And also more examples are given of ox. So there is no dispute in this principle, the arbitrary nature of the sign, because it is easier to discover a truth when we assign something, that word, to a concept or to a proper place. So, this principle one dominates all the linguistics of language. Another example is the word symbol. Symbol has been used to designate the linguistic sign, or more specifically, we can say that it is a signifier. So, one characteristic of the symbol is that it is never wholly arbitrary, it is not empty. There is that natural bond between the signifier and the signified. And it is not easy to change or replace a symbol to another symbol because it is already there in our brain, it is already stored there. Even if the signifier has no natural connection with the signified. But there are two objections for this principle one, which is the onomatopoeia and the interjunctions. The choice of onomatopoeic words are not always arbitrary. These words have a natural or inherent connection with the concept. Saussure himself said that authentic onomatopoeic words are not only limited in number but also they are chosen somewhat arbitrarily because they are only approximate and more or less conventional imitations of certain sounds. And whenever these kind of words are introduced into the language, they are to a certain extent subjected to the same evolution that other words would undergo. Words like bus can be related to bees and the tick tock to cloak. So we can relate these words very easily. Next, interjunctions, that is words like hooray, ouch. All these words are also closely related to onomatopoeia, but we can see that majority of them have no fixed bond between the signified and their signifier. But we can easily relate these words with specific meanings. Next principle is the linear nature of the signifier. As signifier is auditory, it has the following characteristics, that is, it represents a span, and the span is measurable in a single dimension. It is a line. Visual signifiers offer simultaneous groupings in several dimensions, but auditory signifiers have their command only at the dimension of time. Their elements are presented in succession, they form a chain. It is a syntagmatic relation. This means basically a linear relation. In spoken or written language, words come out one by one because language is linear. It forms a chain by which one unit is linked to the next. So these are the main key points in the essay. But you should be well versed with the key concepts of the Saussurean theory. That is, one is a binary oppositions, defining that a unit of language against what it is not. That is the sign, signifier, and signified, we have already discussed. Then lang and parole. That is a collective language system and individual use of that system. Synchronic and diachronic. That is a contemporary state and the historical dimension. In paradigmatic and syntagmatic. Speech, writing. Speech guarantees subjectivity and presence. Some has to do the speaking. And writing is about absence. The absence of the speaker and what is signified by the written signifiers. The Rida calls the privileging speech and presence logocentrism. So the three main tenets of the Saussurean theory are: first one, meaning is arbitrary. Language isn't a reflection of the world. Second is meaning is relational. And third is language constitutes our world. So there ends our class on the nature of the linguistic sign by Ferdinand de Saussure. Now moving on to Module 7 Basic Grammar, Transformation of Sentences. Today we are dealing with the transformation of the imperative, exclamatory, interrogative and assertive sentences. First of all, we'll see changing an exclamatory sentence into an assertive sentence. How beautiful she is. It is an exclamatory sentence. While changing it to an assertive sentence, it will become she is very beautiful. That means just a statement. Next, changing an interrogative sentence, that means a question sentence, into an assertive sentence. Why do you worry about what the people say? It is an interrogative sentence. Now, to changing it to assertive sentence, it will become, it is foolish to worry about what the people say. Now, changing an imperative sentence into an interrogative sentence. Please don't disturb me. It is an imperative sentence. Imperative sentence gives commands, request, etc. And when we change these kind of sentences into interrogative sentences, for example, please don't disturb me. Will you please stop disturbing me? You have to bring slight changes in your answers. So, only through examples you will be able to identify what are the changes that we can bring while changing from one sentence to another. So you have to practice and practice. That's the only solution. Now we can transform or interchange the degrees of comparison. For example, blue whale is larger than all the other mammals in the world. It is a comparative sentence. How can we make it a positive sentence? No other mammal in the world is as large as the blue whale. And what about superlative? Blue whale is the largest mammal in the world. Now, transformation of sentences beginning with no sooner. It can be done in two ways using the expressions as soon as and scarcely. Scarcely had dash when. You'll realize when you see the examples. No sooner had I reached the bus stop than the bus left. As soon as I reached the bus stop, the bus left. Or scarcely or hardly had I reached the bus stop when the bus left. And the last one is a transformation of sentences containing to. So there are some rules. First one is that use that in place of to, and use so in place of to, and if the sentence is in the past tense, could is used in the subordinate clause. The girl was too clever to be taught. The girl was so clever that she could not be taught. So there ends our class on the transformation of sentence and also module 7 basic grammar. Hey. I know this session became a little longer than I thought, but we have completed two topics. That is Ferdinand de Saussure's nature of the linguistic sign and also the transformation of sentences. So from next class onwards, I'll be starting module 6, that is a modern English usage. I'll be giving you questions and you have to give answers on the comment box. I cannot teach you all the topics in module 6 because it's all about doing yourself and practicing, okay? So I'll be giving some random questions at the end of the main class. So that's all for today. Thank you.